So our story starts on the continent of Ilossos. It was a pretty modern day example of what a society could be, up until 1,000 years ago, when suddenly out of nowhere, a large gargantuan rift formed, splitting and tearing. From that rift sprouted various things, monsters, different races, different beings, all coming out and upending the current world order as they know it. Over the next several years after that happening, it turned the world on its head. They had to reimagine everything, and not half because of the rampant monster problem that was that was spawned from this. But that's been 1,000 years in the making. We cut today on a much more smaller scale. In the town of Dunbarton. It's more of a farming trading village. It's on the road to some of the more major villages, and it was a fairly common stop to many of the caravans and the various travelers that come their way. All of you are here for one reason or another, but have decided to take up a job posting to earn a little bit of coin and whatnot. The job posting was to meet in the evening respite and to wait for your contact. Currently, you are all in the very kind of run down and very old. It seems like it's had a lot of years, and it's seen its fair share of bar fights and scuffles and whatnot. There's a couple tables everywhere, maybe 6 or 7. Each of you kind of sat wherever you want, or if you don't want to be there, you can be out exploring the small town of Dunsbarton. The main person who owns the establishment, you've met him a couple times. His name is Gerlin. He's a very stout dwarf with a booming voice and a smile to match. He always has a story to tell, a tall tale to sell you on, or just an ear to lend. He's always been a very jovial fellow, despite his surroundings of pretty squalid, very poor kind of living, since this is a farming town, and even though it's a trading farming town, not a whole lot of business gets input into it. Currently, you are all sat wherever, and the tavern it's about mid-afternoon, and it's about, it's been a while since I've done this. I'm trying to get back on the horse. Sorry. We first come to a table with a large metal figure who seems to be armored all over the place, with a shield in one hand and a shotgun kind of leaning up against the table that he's sat. Forge, if you want to go ahead and describe your character and who they are, that'd be great.
Sitting at the table, not taking any drinks or gesturing toward anyone, mostly focusing on the table and these run-down damn chairs. The chair creaks anytime he moves, and to which he grabs the chair and mends it, agitated at the noise. He no face is visible through his visor, and his armor does not belie what lies beneath. For any joints or flexible parts are covered in black Kevlar. He is clearly ready for combat, but he's not doing anything in particular at the moment.
Okay. Across from another table sits a very small humanoid figure with long ears and got a greenish tint to their skin. On their side, you can see a small revolver with a, if you look hard enough, a cookbook tucked in between their cloak and their breast pocket. Xavier, if you want to go ahead and describe your character.
He's sitting in the chair drinking probably scotch, but if you look a little closer, it's got a little bit of a home blend of spices and such inside. You see, you see Preston, and he's a small little red goblin man, and at the moment he's looking through a smaller book, not like the cookbook that he has in it. Bullet and leather duster, but more like tiny little small, probably something fiction. And every now and then he takes a sip of his brew.
Alright. A couple tables over sits a more elven gentleman. And from time to time, other passerbyers and other patrons at the table kind of give a wary glance at them. They have very long, kind of brown hair going down to about, you would imagine, their knees if they were standing up. T, if you want to go ahead and describe your character.
My character, right. So, a very simple yet really fucking tall robot.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean T. I meant unfunny. I was looking at the wrong stuff. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was
That's my
thinking
fault.
that doesn't sound like you're describing.
Yes, I'm
I was
super
like,
sorry.
he looks exactly like me.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That would have been cool.
Yep, that would have been very interesting. That's my fault.
Twinsies.
Yes. Sorry. So unfunny. Please go ahead and describe your character. Sorry.
Yeah, so basically you just see this, kind of like, well, you would imagine if he stood up, he wouldn't be as tall as he kind of looks sitting down. He has, like, green eyes, and he's just staring down at this, this blade in his hands. You can see it's a javelin, and he's just kind of, like, staring at it with the intensity of, like, someone trying to pass a final exam. And he's just, like, kind of muttering something to himself.
All right. So, sorry about that.
It's cool.
Table over, you see a very large, robotic kind of person. He's got rust all over himself, and it looks very, very worn, like he's seen a lot of wear and tear through his robotic life. T, go ahead and describe your character.
All right. Well, he is sitting on a stool rather than one of the booth tables, and a stool in particular because his back is far too large to fit in a normal chair or one of the booths. He's just kind of sitting down, staring blankly forward as his face is simply a shiny brass faceplate with holes in it. His arms are large enough that they're just resting on the floor with his like an orangutan kind of. It seems there is just a very small bottle of rum sitting in front of him, and he's just looking at it.
Okay. And finally, in probably a corner booth overlooking all of this, you see a very dark-skinned elf with very bright, flowy white clothing. Shadow, if you would like to go ahead and describe your character.
You see a drow. I'm expecting most of your characters would at least know what it is. And Unlike what you expect from Drow to be, trying to murder or enslave everyone around, you see her simply sitting there
Drow race from.
playing a harp and singing or humming a light melody with a very large sword on her back.
All right. Is there anything any of you, having described the setting, having described each one of your characters, would there be anything your characters would do individually, or try and reach out to anyone before we really get this underway?
I
You
think
said Shadow's character was humming or playing something, right?
I'm playing a harp and humming at the moment.
I think Preston would start to like sing a little song that seems like it would be like a theme song to a television show or something. He's just like kind of different than what clearly he would sing, because he's trying to go with the melody, but every now and then he reverts back to what he learned, and I think every now and then he'll like reaffix his cap, his flat cap that he has on him, because it's just ever so slightly too big on him. Just has to fix it every now and again so that you can actually see his face.
Anything else anyone else would like to do?
I can't think of anything besides I want to just dump all of like the rum that's in the little bottle into one of the holes in my face. And that's it.
Okay. As you do that, the very rotund dwarven figure who's been sitting behind the bar you're sitting at kind of saunters over to you and says, "Hey, it's sort of... What are you planning on paying for that?"
Oh, he's talking to me?
Yes, he's
Alright,
he's referring to you after downing the entire bottle.
The entire bottle of rum.
He set like a little shot glass next to you. He was like supposed to pour into, but you just downed the whole bottle instead.
Hey, do not worry.
Shots of
And
rum,
I'm
I
going
don't think
to
rum's a big
kind of oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I'm just going to like click something like a little button on my chest to just like open up like a compartment that just has a little sack inside of it. I'm just going to like, with my giant fucking fingers, take out one coin at a time, since I do not have the precision to take out multiple, and just set them on the table.
Second, I thought you were gonna drain the rum in it. Just like, here you go. I
And
processed it.
and I'm going to slide them over. Oh, I think they should pay for all of it.
So how much are you giving him?
I don't know how much it cost. Did he do
A very cheap kind of drink here would normally cost around 3 or 4 silver, but if you're doing a whole bottle, it might cost 1 or 2 gold. So
I guess 1 gold.
okay, kind of looks at it and pockets it. All right. Anything else I can get you?
No, I think that's all.
Hey,
Yeah, over here I could use like a fork and possibly something to eat because I'm starving over here. I could cook it if you want. I just need the materials.
he looks over to one of the 2 barmaids who are kind of just sitting over and have been serving other customers that's in, and kind of like, and motions for her to go over to the table. She gets to the table and with kind of a really rasp. She's a much more older woman with kind of white frizzy hair, and she's human and has like a really tattered apron down the front. Like, yes.
Could you lead me to your kitchen, please? I'd like to make something.
We really don't have that open to public, I'm sorry. Is there something I can make you?
Sure.
He opens up the coat of his duster. He reaches his hand into a in-coat pocket, throws around in there a little bit, and you see his fingers poke out the bottom of it. And he says, "I thought I had this repaired. Never mind. Fine. I can fix myself up something myself later. Thanks."
You said you wanted a fork, also?
No, not right. No, not now. Thank you, though.
Okay, if you need anything, let me know. And she walks off to the other customer she was helping before. At this point, you wait around for maybe 20 or so more minutes before a very disheveled kind of gentleman walks through the front door. He's got sweat pouring down his face and a very kind of a limp to one side. He's kind of a barrel-chested kind of human with big, burly, tanned arms. And you guys all recognize him as the contact you were speaking to formerly. And he just kind of sits down at an unaccompanied table and looks at all of you to kind of motion you over.
As Preston gets up, he...
Not sitting. Aegis, who is not sitting at the booth, will get up and sit near, and we'll get up and sit at the table with him. Once again, looking at the chair as if its creaking offends him.
I will get up and walk over there slowly with each of my very massive and heavy footsteps. Instead of sitting down at the table, I'll just stand.
Preston will get up from where he was sitting and take his chair with him. He says, "Hey, you're doing all right there. You're looking a little worse for wear."
Work. Listen. I'm assuming you have all kind of congregated at this table?
Mm-hmm.
Or...
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it.
Okay.
Elora just gracefully steps over and has a seat, acknowledges the other people, and then looks at the dwarf who's speaking to us.
He's not a dwarf, actually. He is a human with... Yeah, he's...
Then the human who
Human
is...
world, and we are a party without a single human.
Yes. The dwarf is the bartender, who is just kind of looking around. I just work. It's very physical. So the reason I asked you to meet me here is to... I won't bullshit you. I need help. My 2 sons who have gone out to hunt have not come back in 5 days. It's normal for them to be gone for a couple days at a time, but normally they send word or do something to let me know that they're okay.
Hold on.
Bring any weapons with them, that like guns or anything.
Oh, they're hunters. They don't bring guns. They had like some short bows and stuff. But
Okay, I'm back.
I always fucking told them to bring a gun, but they never listened to me. Always said it'd scare off game.
That sucks. I could have used the possibility of the casings being on the ground to try to find them, but
Lights behind the visor of the armored individual glow as he speaks. Where do they usually hunt at?
All over. They usually hunt in the forest north of here. It's a very large forest, and you've seen this forest. It's one of the main kind of defining features of the road that you're going on, that it borders this massive forest. And there's been many tales of people getting lost in there, getting stuck in mud pits, and just not coming out. But there's also many tales of many wildlife areas that are great for hunting and just really good for gathering various objects and whatnot. So you know
Or
the
any
forest he's
landmarks
talking
that they use as reference points that they would
Uh.
go to in case of an emergency, say a cave or a particularly large tree.
They don't tell me. They generally keep to themselves. They're
But
here
they
for
do tell you what they were hunting you. You think that
hunting
you would
deer
say,
and
hey, we're
elk.
going hunting.
They come down 24 hours, drop off their game, go back out. It's kind of the side business I have is the meats, but I haven't been back for a long while, and frankly, I'm getting worried.
Do they
They've been
trap
gone
too, or do they just hunt?
Well, sometimes they trap. Generally, they have better chances at hunting. They snare small animals like rabbits and squirrels, but
If we were to look around the forest and we were to find any traps, you would say it's probably this.
probably. I mean, not gonna. I'll admit they're pretty shit at trapping. A lot of their stuff either malfunctions or goes off early with nothing in it. This is why they like to be out there, remember? But yeah. They went off northeast when they were going last. And to avoid getting lost, they generally leave trails of various things. I don't know. But
Breadcrumbs, are you two boys named perhaps Hansel and Gretel?
no, they don't fucking use breadcrumbs.
I'm just messing.
Kind
I'm
of
just messing.
fuckhead
What
would
kind of
use
stuff?
breadcrumbs in a forest.
I know,
it's pretty
right?
fucking stupid.
It's, right, it's a rubbish story I read as a child. Anyway, what do they use?
Moisture alone would destroy them. You know, bits of cloth stapled to trees, markings in the trees.
How long
That-
ago did they depart?
About 5 days.
That's quite a
Hmm.
while for a hunting trip. I suspect
yeah.
it's something a little worse.
That's going to make tracking them quite a bit harder.
Right.
Yeah, they generally go deep into the forest, and as you can see, he gestures to him his like overall physique. I'm not the best at tracking or being light of foot. So I'll give you a down payment.
That's
Bring him
behind the
back.
visor and light up as Aegis laughs, and he gestures towards all of the armor that he's currently wearing. I'm not particularly stealthy either, I get it.
Right. Well,
And as you can see from my duster, I've gotten in a few fights, so stealth isn't a big thing for me that much. Mainly because I don't like to stealth around. I like to get into the fray. That
Well,
doesn't that doesn't matter much.
Stealthiness is a coward's weapon, anyways.
Right.
I think
And
I could
I-
stealth if I wanted to.
Methinks I heard you say something about a down payment.
yes, this is all I have at the moment from smithing and selling off their various cuts they procure. I'll have more when you get back. He places a small sack of change on the table and just kind of leaves it there. That's all I have. I'll have more once you get back. I've got
This
a couple
is all
papers
you
I can follow.
have.
And
Preston
it's
will dump the change out of the sack, sort of like divvy it up into two piles, and put one of the
There's-
piles back in the sack and slide it back.
There's, as you dump out, a cacophony of various copper pieces and silver pieces, and a good few gold pieces kind of spill out onto the table. And they just kind of like rattle around. You gather that after taking a moment to count them, you have 43 copper, 17 silver, and 20 pieces of gold on the
Is that
table.
before or after the split in half?
That's the total amount.
All right. So he'll split it in half, put one of the halves back into the sack, and pushes it back to him.
That's all right, guys, right? You'd think that we're not gonna take this man's entire cash supply.
To be fair, we are risking our lives for this man. Although
Okay.
the thrill of the hunt is glorious, I think we deserve fair compensation. And
But he also
just
deserves the
slides.
ability to get. He also deserves the ability to buy things and be able to.
I'll be fine. And he kind of pushes the remainder of the coin. I've got a little saved up. I'll be fine. This is what I can spare for the time being. I'll have one when you guys get back. Their names are Sean and Derek. If that
And
does
Derek.
anything.
Hmm.
They wear. Sean wears a black cloak over himself. Has kind of a short bow, and a quiver of arrows. Wears kind of simple clothing. Nothing too spectacular about him. He's got short, frizzy, red hair. His brother,
Particular
Derek,
color of cloth to track,
he's
or
got a black,
as their
black
marker.
cloak. Black cloak on Sean.
I was more talking about for what they nail to the trees.
They have
You'd think they just nail spare cloth to the trees. Like, who's gonna take cuts from their own clothing and put it to the tree, right?
generally they try to keep it to a darker color so it's not readily apparent.
Of course.
So they're
I think
not complete buffoons.
No, they're not stupid. I mean, they've done this many times. It's just normally they're here in the span of a day or two. This is the longest they've been out.
Most of the things that are in this forest that are going to be especially dangerous are maybe an angry moose or wolves or something of the sort. Maybe a bear. There aren't going to be many sentient creatures that are hunting people out in these woods, so it was worth an ask whether they use something bright, but no, they don't.
Preston
Well,
will
there's
tap Aegis. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
He'll tap Aegis on the shoulder and kind of gesture it for him to lean down.
We'll do so.
He whispers in his ear. Now, I don't want to say this in front of the guy that we're trying to make sure he's not super worried, but how sure of you are? How sure of you are that? Why? Why can't I speak? How sure are you of that statement? Because
Aegis would have been around here a lot. Joker, is that statement generally true?
Somewhat. There has been like bears and like various other large game. There's also been the like various goblin parties and like maybe an errant knoll or something. But generally, forests you try and avoid going off the beaten path unless you have a specific skill set tied to that. So if you're like a commoner, you would just go wandering into the woods. But if you're a hunter, that risk outweighs the reward outweighs the risk for that.
Yeah, Preston will.
There are
I've
maybe
seen-
a couple goblin bands in the caves, but maybe. And I think there's a knoll that wanders around in the area.
I've seen people go crazy and run off into the woods, and afterward are quite a few missing persons reported. But if you're sure
Yes,
that's
and a lot of them wind up found later on, or some of them at the very least are found later on with wolf bites on them, down to the bone. So if I had to take a guess, that's our threat.
Hopefully there are.
You go first.
Hopefully there aren't any no offense, and he turns to Xavier's character. No offense, hopefully there aren't any lower life forms to stop us, or that have stopped the hunters.
Not sure if you just called me a lower life form or not, but whatever. He turned back to Aegis.
Right here.
It's safe. It's safe.
Feral goblins are mean sons of bitches.
It's safe to assume that Preston is not like common of this town. He's been around other places, yeah.
Been around other places, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some things of this sort. Just don't get your hopes up that they are drawing any like crazy peoples out there trying taking people.
He turns back to
Would Aegis know of any, say, cannibal cults living inside of the forest?
They're generally, it's pretty tame, except for like some.
It's
pretty
just
tame
a big ass
if
forest.
you know what you're doing. It's a fucking big ass forest, and it comes with the threats of a normal forest, of getting lost, of getting attacked by a wild animal or something.
he turns.
But no,
to
there's no
the-
like crazy murder cults.
Preston turns to the contact. Did you ever give the contact a name?
Yes, you guys would know that his name is Timothy Byers,
Hey,
and you're trying to find his Timothy. Most people call him Tim.
Yeah, I'm shortening it.
He's
Timmy.
the local blacksmith and butcher.
Yeah. He
Then-
says,
Tim would probably know Aegis quite well then.
Relatively. I mean, I'm assuming, was this the place that you were around, or were you traveling a bunch already?
This is maybe a few miles away from his original village, but he's been around long enough that his name is spoken between blacksmiths for quite a ways around.
Okay. So yeah.
At least halfway through the state.
Yeah, I'll
After all, he was there for 100 years.
Mhm.
Okay, what were the names of the hunters?
Sean and Derek.
Yeah.
Sean wears a black cloak, has a short bow, very simple clothing. Derek has a green cloak, has a little bit more upkeep in himself. Sean has like frizzy red hair, and Derek has more straight black hair.
Preston will ask Timothy,
how do they act? What is their? How do they walk? How do they?
They're very careful. I mean, you got to be in this line of work. I mean, you gotta be careful not to scare off game. You gotta be very light on your feet. They're good kids. They're maybe 20 and 21 respectively.
says,
They're
When they came back from a hunting trip, were they a little frazzled, different in any way? No, probably not, right?
they dropped off this large elk and a couple squirrels tied to their belt. Sold for a decent penny. My shop, but no, there was nothing off about their behavior before or anything. It was just
Alright, that rules out that they're slowly
Yeah.
going crazy. Anything else?
What?
he sort of murmured that to himself, more than saying that out loud. Sort of just
Okay.
to himself. Kind of like he has a checklist in his mind and he just crossed off one of the possibilities.
I can show you where I last saw them go. I was like,
I have a map
really after
for
that,
them
it'll be up to you guys.
that you can point to us their general hunting grounds where we would find them more often than not.
Yeah, we don't want to put you in danger.
And we need-
I
and we
wouldn't
need
be
to
walking
get out
into
on
the
the
forest.
road.
I'd just be pointing.
Ah, alright.
You guys. Yeah, he brings out like a little bit of parchment from his like side bag. Like a little quill, wets it on his tongue. Just starts doing a rough outline of the forest and like a little stick figures of where you guys are and where the big forest is, and, like the small little town. like elementary levels of drawing. He's not very dexterous with this.
He's a smith. He's not
He
a
kind
cartographer.
of
Right.
yes, and he kind of does like a little wavy line, kind of says, "This is the river they generally go by." Aside from that, they go up through the bog, and he makes like a kind of lake-looking thing, but it looks just like a big splotch. It's like that's
Like a bog would be.
they usually generally go past that to hunting grounds. After that, I don't really know. That's more of their department. He kind of wipes his nose messily.
He says,
If you need
Preston
any,
says, you doing all right, man?
okay.
Getting here.
I hope. Make an insight check real quick.
All of us, or
No, just Preston, since he's trying to see if he's doing okay.
21.
Oh.
You can see on his face that even though he's trying to be calm, he's got this general worriedness about him. He's very he's shifting in his seat a lot and kind of glancing about, just and kind of twiddling his thumbs in a very nervous tick kind of way. He's very nervous about what has happened to these people, and they haven't been gone for this long, and he's thinking of the worst. No, I'm fine. They go out a bunch. I just want to know because they're a big point of revenue. Smithing, you don't really do a whole lot in this town, but yeah.
So how much currency was in each pile?
It was 46 pieces of copper, 16 pieces of silver, and 20 pieces of gold.
Preston will stand up and he says, you're not fine, but whatever. Now I'll get you back in. Yeah, I'll get your kids back. And he murmurs to himself in one form or another.
Is that the total amount of gold?
We better get moving. The more time we spend sitting around here, the worse their chances are. Let's get
I
moving.
agree with Doom Guy here.
Doom guy, but with a shield. That's a that's a fair description.
Yeah,
About now, it's about maybe 9, 10 in the morning. You've still got most of the day ahead of you. If you want to go stock up on provisions or something, and
traveling in the day is such a pain.
as they
Traveling
step
at
out of
all
the-
without a horse is much more of a pain. I used to have a pretty nice car that my dear papa bought me that was just the best.
so it's
Forest this dense, we're not going to want a horse or a car. That's only going to hinder us more than anything.
Right.
Well, it would be
the
comfortable.
It would be very comfortable until you hit a tree.
I was more referring to the fact that I am better at night. It's
how
easier
dark
to
was-
see.
How dark
Sorry?
was the bar? Like, compared to outside?
It's not super dark or anything, but it's not super bright. Most of the shutters are closed, and there's a bit of torchlight. There's a bit of like an electric lantern that's just kind of as like the electricity is going about, and it's like sitting on the bar next to.
Preston will sit down on a bench, sort of like outside of the bar, and just pull out the cookbook and start reading. And he says, "You guys go do what you guys go prep. Come back to me when you're done. And I'll probably be ready."
I have a bit of provisions if you want some fresh cut meat. Maybe a bit of. That's really all I have is meat at the moment.
And
Yes, I could use that. I'd be able to cook for us and in the evenings as we track them.
Yes.
I could too. I could also do some cooking. Yeah, sure.
For one, would like to just get moving.
All right. I'll go get some. And he kind of awkwardly gets up and just kind of walks out the door hurriedly to go.
Can I do a sleight of hand check to like slide a note into his pocket or something?
Sure.
Oh, I was about to say, good lord, you're already trying to pick the NPC's
No,
pockets.
no.
Like, dang, man. You
That's
wasted
how
any
you
time.
play a drow.
Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of
Clearly,
want
you
to
know
do
nothing about mine.
I kind of want to do it so that the rest of the party doesn't quite notice. It's not that
Okay.
I'm trying to hide a note on him so he doesn't notice. I'm making it so that they don't notice.
Okay. What's everyone's passive perception, real quick?
Well, my passive is 15, I believe. Looks like he rolled a 20, though, so
His
nobody's passive
is-
perception is going to hit that high at this level.
No.
Probably not.
Unless they're variant human, cleric, or whatever with the
Definitely mine.
observant feat.
Jeez,
So,
you got
Considering my
So
you
you-
burned in
you-
your good rolls at the very start of the session.
I got the burning roll.
Considering
It's
I
all
have
You
four
for
wisdom,
deftly
I don't
place
think I
a
would've
small
seen
folded
anything.
piece of paper into his pocket. Let me go ahead and let's see. He does not seem to notice you as you put your small little gremlin hand into his pocket to put that small folded piece of paper inside of it, and he continues walking out.
Just for later, if he does find out that he has it, it says some like an inspirational quote of some sort, probably from him or one of the people he used to work with. Just like keep your chin up, sort of inspirational quote.
Okay.
Oh, good grief. One of those guys.
For the moment, you guys have a couple minutes to yourselves as he's going off to fetch some supplies. If you want to talk, if you want to do anything, or if you just want to
Alright.
wait.
So we each got this amount of money?
No, that was the total amount of it.
Oh, that was the
46
total
copper, 46 copper, 16 silver, and 20 gold.
He's
Currently making
said he
a-
had some on the side.
I'm currently making a group loot for all of us so we can distribute this stuff easy.
I think Preston. What kind of does Preston have? Like a room at the inn, like a house, or what's Preston's digs at this place in this town?
Well, how I was envisioning it is that you were all kind of just passing through, or if you guys lived nearby, you were coming in for a small visit and encountered this fellow individually. If you want to go up and rent a room, you can surely do that.
No, I think it was more. I wanted to grab something from like. I think I have like a cart that has like a logo on it. Do like TVs exist?
They used to, but yeah. It's a little hard pressed to find a working broadcasting signal to tap into, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just something big enough as a radio station with that much power draw would be a big target for orcs
Yep.
or goblins or something to destroy.
I also
So
have a
generally
question.
things tend to be smaller.
How long did you say the war has been going on, or whatever? Like, how long have we been in the post-apocalypse?
There hasn't been a war, really, but the rift happened about 1,000 years ago, making all of this desolate. And the rift is still open and is still there, but it's surrounded by a large crater and is filled with very, very aggressive monsters and whatnot, all pretty much
Unsavory
surrounding this
types.
rift. Yes, very unsavory types who have managed to adapt to the different environment. But yeah,
Preston will Preston, it would be safe to assume Preston has like a little cart, yeah. Just
Sure. Just like a little, like a hand cart or like a full push trolley.
I think it's more so like a covered wagon, sort of like a theater troops wagon.
Like a full ass wagon? Like needs horses to pull? Or
Yeah, probably would need horses, but he doesn't have horses.
Yeah, we don't have any
hooked up
Goliaths
them
to
at the
pull
moment.
that this time.
Yeah, he doesn't have any horses.
No, we have a
hooked up for
Warforged
him.
to do that, don't
you
we?
have one single 7-foot robot. And another robot who's not 7 foot, I think.
Yeah,
Aegis
you
is
see
6'6".
You see on the side of this cart a sort of sun-bleached logo of a TV show, Cooking with Gas with Preston. And if you were to look a little bit closer, you could see that something was painted over after Preston. And he looks at the logo. He stands there for a moment, looks at the logo, and then gets into the cart and grabs like probably his wallet and runs back to the tavern all the time shouting, "I freaking forgot to pay! Oh dang! Got to pay!"
Geralt, the very rotund dwarven person comes up and says, "Got to pay what? What'd you drink? The scotch? Was that you?
Yeah.
It'll be 2 silver."
Can you give me change for a gold?
And he grumbles as he kind of pulls out a sack. It's like, yeah. And he slaps down 8 silver and expectantly holds out his hand.
He flicks. What's his name again?
Garland.
Garland. He flicks Garland. One of his gold, and he says, "If you need me for anything, I'll probably not be around for the moment. But if you need me to like cook or something, I'm here." He says,
All right.
So you're basically just a walking, talking library.
"What you talking library?"
I mean, you just said if he needed a book, he could just
"Oh,
ask you. Cook?
Yes.
That makes this whole bit pointless.
One letter
He
off.
takes it and puts it in his little side pouch and just walks behind the bar yet again and is just kind of absent-mindedly wiping the bar with a really, really dirty cloth. It seems like it should be washed at some point, but he just doesn't care at the moment.
He's a toothpick.
No. I'm fine, thank you.
I was more so asking for one for me.
Oh. Wanda! And he like shouts to the very older woman, Krusty. It's like, yes! Toothpick, please! And she goes into the back and comes out carrying a single wooden, very small, very blunt toothpick. It's more of just like a stick than a toothpick. It's kind of very, with shaky hands, gives it to you. He's like, anything else?
No, thank you, my lady. And he tips his flat cap. Why did he say my lady? That's a freaking cowboy hat thing, not a flat cap thing. Either way, he pops the toothpick in his mouth and starts sucking on it.
Cowboy hat would be ma'am.
Ma'am.
Right.
Alright. By this time, a couple minutes have passed, and Timothy comes back carrying 2 very large bundles wrapped in white paper. It's kind of like, and just plops them on the table with kind of a like a squelch. Yeah, this is a bit of shoulder meat, and that one, he points to the left one. That's a thigh. The good cuts of meat are from the elk that they brought.
Preston will start looking over the meat and start flipping through his cookbook. He says, "Think."
Well, they're currently wrapped in white butcher's
Paper.
butcher's paper.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
they're
Yeah,
just
whatever.
kind of
He'll just start flipping through his cookbook. Every now and again, you'll see like a post-it note with some like arcane drawings on it, which he quickly flips past. Can I call for a check?
Oh, sure. What are you trying to do?
I just want everybody else to roll to see if they notice something, but that's kind of unprecedented. Like
Anyone who is wanting can go ahead and make a perception check to see what's in Preston's cookbook. I'm imagining, if anyone's paying attention.
More so on the inside of the cover, yeah.
Aegis isn't paying attention.
Elora would definitely be paying attention.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead and.
What is the DC though? I mean, my passive perception's 15.
Well, this
Hold on,
is.
how do I figure out passive perception again?
I think
It was.
It says it on your character sheet.
Uh,
It's the numbers in parentheses next to
okay.
next to the things.
7.
Aegis has 12.
Like 10.
Yeah, so 15 is where it's at. Didn't get above my passive.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming with those rolls, no one really sees anything.
I mean,
Nope.
I still have a 15 passive.
Well, yes,
And the whole
but
purpose of active perception is to see if you beat your passive.
Yeah, passive.
Because
is
anything
before.
that's under your passive should be noticed anyway.
Hmm.
so, Neri, do any of them see anything, Xavier?
I think that what was your character shadow?
Elora.
I think Alora would have noticed written on the cover of his written on the inside of the cover of his book that you would just barely notice to Preston and then something you didn't quite get. You kind of skimmed over to get to the bottom, and it said, what's the name I want to go with? Actually, no, you read to Preston, best friend, co-worker, and I don't know what to write here, and from Jonathan.
So yeah, and that's a shoulder and that's a thigh. If you need anything else, let me know. Yeah, that's about it. Okay. Do you want the map I drew? And he kind of pulls out the hastily drawn.
He says, Preston says, in like the most polite way possible, I don't think that'll be quite. I don't think that'll be needed.
We got the idea. That's what we needed.
Okay.
Yes, your poorly drawn map isn't needed.
Oh, that's a bit rude. Isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little.
What? I'm just being
bit
honest. I mean, he
rude.
could take an art class or two.
There's a
Ooh,
difference
that's
between
not
being honest and being rude.
I mean, there are
Blacksmith,
I
not a
was
cartographer. Come on.
I was honest. You were rude.
It's not really my forte, and I don't care, and I do other stuff.
Yeah.
See,
It was
he's
good enough for
totally
what we
fine
need.
with it.
Yeah.
Was it?
Okay.
Oh, I think so.
Yes.
I'm gonna go.
He gave us he gave us what he knows. That's what we needed.
Preston will turn to. Who's Unfunny's character? I love how we didn't share names. Or I just wasn't paying attention. What's Unfunny's character? Who's
Unfunny's character's name is Alphonse.
Preston will turn to Alphonse and say, "Yeah, it was good for what we needed." Sort of with a sort of stern look at him.
It
All right,
was decent.
I'm gonna go do my job now. Okay. Find my kids, please. All right. Bye.
You have a
And he
nice
kind of
life, sir.
very awkwardly kind of shuffles out, seeing the arguing going on, feeling uncomfortable, and goes.
Alphonse kind of shouts after him, "If your children are dead, we still get paid."
Jesus.
Once again,
No,
He
chill at
ignores
all.
that completely and just kind of keeps going a little bit faster now.
Preston
Despite
will-
not being able to see, despite nobody being able to see Aegis's face, Aegis is quite clearly staring at Alphonse.
Yeah, Preston.
His head is turned towards Alphonse, and his shoulders are rather slack.
Why is everyone suddenly turning against me? I'm just saying we should still be compensated. The job is to look for them, and if we
This
do
is
find
true.
them, bring them back.
It's
but you
So-
don't bring up the
If we don't
chance.
find them,
of
we still
that.
get.
You don't
still
have
done our
many
job.
friends, do you?
I
Yeah,
don't
we're gonna need to work on that.
friends.
And he starts walking towards the forest.
We're gonna need to work on that.
I have a lovely personality, and if people don't recognize it, that's on them.
You do not have a lovely personality. You have a pretty nasty personality, actually.
You have the
Well,
personality
my
of
mother
sandpaper.
told me otherwise.
My mother
Everybody's
told
mother
me
tells
if you
them
have
that.
something mean to say it immediately.
I'm going to just put my hand down slowly, just over the table, and just say, right, I really think now's not the time to get into an argument.
Exactly. We should be on the search for his
Now-
possibly dead sons.
Now, remember,
Most likely.
but remember, just as something to remember for the future, just because something is true doesn't mean you need to say it. It can still be rude. Anyway.
If I have
well,
something on my mind, I will say it.
and I'll just
And you
move my
can't
hand
stop
back.
me.
Preston's walking towards the forest now with a sort of waving fingers, sort of like round up. Let's go.
Okay.
Sort of gesture.
Preston has left the building and is currently. His whereabouts are unknown to the rest of you.
No, they could. I honestly,
They were in the-
bar, should we?
I honestly thought we were outside the bar.
I thought we had left the bar.
Oh.
No, he had went to. Okay, if you guys were outside, it's alright.
Started walking towards the forest. Of course, I'm not being super fast about it. I don't want them to lose me. Of course.
So do you all follow and get started on the
Yes.
Aegis will
assignment?
follow the goblin.
Oops. I don't have that damn good a dark vision. Holy crap.
Yes.
I accidentally set it to 120 miles. Some epic level dark vision.
I don't even think.
No
most
wonder
of
you
it
like
is
traveling at night.
I can see farther than my actual horizon permits.
Right. I can see the crystal sphere from here.
Yes.
I can see the other side of the world.
Anyway, it's about maybe 11:30 after all of this talking and all of this, as you guys head into the forest. Following the path that he kind of set before you, I would like one of you to make a survival check for me, as you're leading the group to try and go to to this river that he had described to you.
Ooh, I would
24.
not do so hot there.
Highest survival.
So Shadow was doing the survival check then?
I just rolled it. 24.
Alright.
I actually have the survival skill. I don't know if anybody else here does.
I do not.
Okay. As Alora takes the front, very proudly, immediately knowing exactly where to go, you guys trudge forward. And within an hour or two, you come across this very slow, burbling river, and it's very. You can feel like this, like the spray coming up at you every once in a while as it crashes across the rocks. It's very peaceful. The sky is pretty blue. It's little puffs of cloud every once in a while, but for the most part, it's a pretty nice day in the forest. You guys are currently...
Starts to stray towards his wand slash revolver and just rests on it. He's not trying to pull it out or anything. He's just resting his hand on it.
Well, walking, I would like to say, oh, it's a lovely day, isn't it? And then, like, kind of rotate my shoulder joint to, like, get some rust and barnacles off my shoulder.
You look like you need some WD-40. Huh?
What's WD-40?
That would be a yes. Anyway, come before the storm and all that.
This is a very nice area. I will say
Yeah,
that
so-
much. This would be a great. This definitely great hunting grounds. Great camping grounds too.
One of you go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Are we in direct sunlight or?
It's pretty overcast because of you're in the tree foliage. I wouldn't say this is direct sunlight.
Oh, yeah.
You would say it is?
You should
I would not say it is
You should
because
probably
you're
get,
got a little
like
bit of shade and
parasol
whatnot.
or something.
20.
All right. As you're looking about, you see that indeed there are many bits of wildlife, such as elk and deer, and there's there's a couple squirrels skittering up the tree and just kind of watching you. You also notice something stapled to a tree about maybe 60 or so feet across the river.
How big's the river?
Well, it's not super big. It's not a white water rapid, but it's a good maybe 5 feet deep and
Oh.
like maybe 10 feet across.
I'd
It's
like,
very it's more of a creek than a creek than a
I
river.
would like to just walk through it.
Aegis will also simply walk through it.
Preston's gonna try to jump over
I
it.
will try to jump over it.
He's not a big fan of getting wet.
Okay, those of
I'll just
those
stand
of
on the
you
other
who
end.
are jumping, go ahead and make an acrobatics check as you're trying to long jump across this 10-foot.
Okay,
Damn.
20.
I'll
Nice.
just like stand on the other end with my hand motioning like
Be
on
more
the other
so
side.
athletics
Come on,
because I'm
man,
not
it's
trying
not
to
that
do.
bad.
Oh wait, no, never mind.
Is there no
Acrobatics
other way
is trying
around
to
this
get a run
river?
up.
Aegis will hold his shield out toward the goblin.
Preston, are you jumping? Are you?
Yeah,
Hitching a ride.
Preston's jumping. 12.
Okay. You offer your shield out to him. As you do that, Preston kind of takes a couple steps back and starts to go into a full-on sprint. Using the shield, you kind of try and jump off of it to try and get a little bit momentum and go a little bit further.
I was offering to carry him across.
I know what you were trying to do, but
It's-
he's
yeah.
jumping on top of it and using that as a springboard to try and jump over. So
He thought
You
he
get
was on the other
most
side of
of
the
the
river
way
and he was trying to hold it out for me to grab on. And I was imagining that what would be super funny is he pulled out his shield and held it in front of him. So like Preston would grab onto it, but Preston doesn't quite grab onto it and just bounces
No.
off and like,
No, he's holding it flat out as a platform for Preston to stand on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
I have an idea.
Preston is jumping on top of it and leaping across. Or he's attempting to do so. He gets maybe 3/4 of the way there, but kind of falls short a bit and kind of splooshes down into it. It's about maybe a foot away and kind of like scrambles back on top of land. And
Come
3/4 of you is completely soaked. It's those like videos of people like falling off the log and like quickly getting back out. That's pretty much just what happened, but with a bit of a running jump.
It's,
Preston's just gonna keep walking and act like nothing happened.
All right, I think I know what I would like to do. I'd like to walk back across to the side where everybody else is, and just kind of lift my hands above my head and offer them as like seats, because this dude's got big hands, big hands.
Alfonso will take that immediately.
Anyone else? No
I think
one?
most everyone
Yeah,
else
Laura's
is
definitely going to stay on
crossed.
foot.
Yeah, Alora was able to just gracefully up and over, no problem whatsoever. Preston, being a little bit shorter and not as graceful as Alora, took that fumble, but Alora was able to just quickly, with all the deftness of a deer, was able to quickly and land on the other side with no problem.
No
Yeah,
need to show
soon-
off, Allure.
Preston's starting to.
She just looks at you
Quickly.
inquisitively at this showing off concept. She's like,
He,
she has no idea what you're talking about.
Anyway, I'm
You're
going.
embarrassing the little man.
he says,
I've done nothing of the
The
sort.
little man
What are you
embarrassed
talking about? I'm
himself.
fine. And also, Preston. His name is Preston. Please.
Yes, I know, little man.
Yeah, I'm going to walk back across with the. So, who's sitting in my hand again?
Fonz.
Yeah.
Alfonso.
Yeah,
Or
Alphonse.
Fawns, I guess.
Alphonse just.
The Fawns.
Yeah. And when I reach the other side, I'll just let Alphonse down.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Preston's trying to immediately start drying off his duster because I think he has the mentality of leather and water don't mix together well. So he's trying to dry himself off as fast as possible.
I'm just gonna say, I think I've gotten pretty good at walking through water.
I've gotten much better at jumping over water.
Aegis will continue through the water and making sure to keep his shield and his shotgun and his ammo above the water. He does not care about the water.
The rest of you make it across well enough. And Alora, you get to that little thing that was stapled to the tree. It is a black piece of cloth with an arrow pointing about northeast on it. It's penciled in kind of with white chalk, and it's stapled, not really stapled, but has like a nail through it. A nail through it.
Currently, we were moving northwest through the.
Northwest, you got to the river, you've gotten over it, so now they're trying. Wait, no, it wasn't. You're going more northwest than northeast. Yeah. It was going to a western area. And from the map you were given, you could see that that is where the bog, that direction is where the bog was.
Preston will say,
So that arrow's pointing northeast. You'd think that they would have the arrow pointing to go camp, not to where they were going, right? So let's start heading southwest.
We just came from the southwest.
We came from the northwest. We came from the southeast. Oh, right. That would bring us.
We were
back.
headed northeast.
Personally, I think at the
That's better
very
than-
least we should check their camp first.
Well, it's not a camp. It's just a single piece of cloth nailed to a tree.
Well, he's suggesting
And an arrow pointing
that
in a
they would have
direction.
the arrow pointing towards their camp.
no, I'm saying that the arrow would be pointing back.
He's saying it
towards
would be
town.
pointing away from the camp.
Right, back towards town.
Does one of you want to make a quick investigation check for me?
I think I
that one
should
would
since
be-
I was the one who brought it up.
Mhm.
Investigation, yeah.
Investigation.
Investigation.
Be a
Plus 0,
D20
but
for
I
me.
feel like trying anyway.
All right.
Let's see what happens. Wow, how does a person with no bonus roll almost highest?
Almost, yeah.
All right.
Only
for the
person who
most
beat me
part-
is +4.
So, Aegis and Alora, you were kind of looking around as this happens, and Alora, you kind of spot a small circle of like twine. Aegis, you kind of spot this too, and you go up to investigate further, and you see that this is a very rudimentary snare for rabbits and whatnot. And looking around, you see two others that have not been tripped, and one that has been tripped. Its catch still kind of dangling from its neck, limp. It's like a white snow bunny, not really a snow bunny, but it's a white bunny, just kind of dangling there.
Aegis will pick up the hair and put it in, place it into his pack for once they get back to town.
All right. You now have a dead rabbit.
Yep. Plus the meat that we were given, so we definitely have the ability to cook it. So
Just Iron Chef.
Oh,
Just
you little
competent.
bugger, that looks so good.
Could we tell how long the rabbit has been dead?
Oh, rabbit. I think it's a rat.
It looks relatively recent, maybe within the past 3 days or so. It's getting the early signs of decay. It definitely has a smell.
Oh, okay.
It definitely has a smell to it. But
Okay, then it's Aegis would not have put it into his pack. Then it's not going to be much good.
if
Anymore.
Lauren notices this, she's going to disable the other traps because apparently the people who set them aren't coming back to check them.
People who set them are likely the ones who we're after, who haven't been seen in 5 days. So it makes sense
Yes.
that they haven't checked the traps.
Okay, so you guys are disabling the traps.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Easy enough to
So-
you guys disable it.
Hey.
They're all hanging limply with their rope just kind of dangling 2 or 3 feet above the ground.
How many can we tell, do we have a sense of how much progress we've made as to, how
Well-
close we are to the, area where they were last, supposedly going?
Well, they
We
were
found the first cloth out of 5 days worth.
yeah,
Probably more
And-
cloth.
and
We
it's
probably have
been
a ways to go.
you've been walking for about maybe 2 hours, I'd say. The sun is getting pretty high in the sky. It's about maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, it's still pretty early on in the day. All right, so what do you guys plan on doing now?
Around for another piece of cloth.
It
All right.
it just has a arrow pointing. That was
And head
look around
over
for a
in that direction
Yep,
and
I'm gonna follow
look
the
for another
arrow.
cloth. Follow the
Yeah.
arrow and look for more cloths.
Exactly.
walking for about maybe half an hour. You get to a very old looking camp, fire ring with the stones placed around it and bits of long burned wood. That's looking around. You see signs of food scraps.
A
you
campsite,
see-
basically.
yeah, basically, but there's no tents or anything. It's just that
A packed up campsite.
a
Or
packed up
a-
campsite,
A
fire
previously
pit,
used one.
and ashes from a campfire, and there's bits and
Aegis
pieces
will
of
place a hand near the burned wood to see if it's still warm or has been used within the last day or two.
it is stone cold.
First,
If you
we'll
want to go
start-
ahead and make a survival check to see how long this would be, go ahead.
Damn.
Nice.
Do you reckon that this has been burned down for a number of days? It's got the characteristics of there's
Maybe
been a
4 or
bit of
5 days.
rainfall. Well, wouldn't necessarily be. It'd probably be around the 4-day mark. Yeah.
Been here in maybe 4 days, so we need to keep moving.
Keep moving a lot, way fast.
Let's look for more cloths.
Right.
If you guys want to make another investigation check to look around.
1.
Wow.
All of the good rolls.
16.
as well.
Swear I don't have a module for these rolls.
You all look around and are pretty confident there are no more bits of cloth here. They seem to have packed up and continue heading onwards. Though you do see some like bits of food scrap heading off in a certain direction, seeing as seemingly like them eating as they're going, and just kind of tossing the scraps behind them. They're very old and kind of like the scraps of like a squirrel, and you're assuming it's them because they're very similar to the scraps back at the campsite. But it goes on for a couple feet and then just kind of trails off, going a certain direction. But there's
Well,
no more.
that's not concerning.
Well, it seems
Kidding.
we need to follow
I have
the
a great
food trail
feeling.
they left.
I think ants or something would have gotten to this before we did. I mean,
Continuing forward, who would like to be leading the group for this next leg?
I don't have the highest survival, so I don't think I should be the one.
Is anyone besides me actually proficient in it?
In survival?
I'm not proficient in survival,
Oh,
but I
absolutely
do have. I believe I have the highest intelligence score of us, so it would probably
Survival is
be
a
the two
wisdom.
of us.
It's a wisdom thing.
Survival is
I have
wisdom.
a -3
Survival
to,
is
to
wisdom,
survival.
and investigation is intelligence.
Yeah, investigation
These
and
would be-
intelligence. So.
Yeah. So it would probably be the two of us in the front.
Yeah, I have
All
a
right.
Given I'm
-3
I will roll 22 for my survival check. Nice.
Wow.
Yet again, feeling the like being able to see where the scraps are, you see some very, very old footprints and kind of follow those for a bit. You follow those for a good hour and a half before you start coming across it like kind of petering out. Then it goes back in, and it takes a while for you to kind of see what they were doing, since they were trying to cover their tracks not very well, if anything was like following them. Eventually you get to this kind of area where you see a bit of like very old dried blood and a bit of like a single arrow that's just been kind of tossed aside, and it's all bloody and whatnot.
Well, we know they're dead.
No,
Great
We know
adventure,
nothing of the
guys.
we know something's dead.
Something has been injured.
Cool
We
your
don't know
heels.
anything is necessarily dead.
We don't know whether this is the blood of a wolf, a deer, or a human.
It's just easier to assume, and that way we get our payment faster.
Ah, yes. Avoiding actually doing the work and still getting the pay.
Bit immoral, innit?
I mean, it's not precisely immoral.
It is
not doing the
precisely
job that you're being
immoral.
paid to do.
Immoral.
Says who? Who
It's
died
theft.
and made you the god of philosophy or whatever
Specifically,
those
it's
assholes study?
theft. You are taking
Theft.
money for services that you chose not to
We-
render.
We are not
I will not be a
stealing
part of
anything.
that.
He's giving it to us of his own free. Fine. You know what? Let's find
fraud,
two
not
dead
theft.
children. Fine.
Well, no,
Yes.
it's theft. He's taking services for a job and then not
Of
doing
which was
that
not
job.
rendered.
That's
Yes, that would be fraud.
Fraud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be more
Out
so
of character.
fraud.
Yeah.
As they're walking, Preston's gonna sort of be behind Alfonso,
Mhm.
sort of looking them over, trying to find like something that would make them see that would show that they're like uncomfortable or something.
Are you like
Ah.
trying to find a physical thing, or trying to gauge more of their like emotional aptitude or whatnot?
More of their emotional state.
Okay, go ahead and make an insight check, I suppose.
Laura is going to, at this point, take a look at the arrow and the other evidence of what's going on and see if she can discern anything from it.
Yeah. Specifically,
what
I
kind of
personally
blood
want to
this is.
deduce the. Yeah, I want to also see what kind of blood this is.
Okay.
Yep, 20 for that insight.
Okay, and remind me again what you were trying to gauge.
I'm trying
Try
to
to-
look for a sort of like a going to body language and such if they're uncomfortable or something. And
And
that's
who was this?
something like this. Sort of wanting to get the job done quick.
I'm pretty sure it was on me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cell phone.
so I'd say that's high enough. How do you really feel about this job? If you want to tell him, if you don't want to say it to the entire group, you can go ahead and like DM it to him. Something.
I mean, that's fine.
Simple.
Alfonso is very like he's visibly like just annoyed by having to be like out in the streets, as you would call it. And like he's constantly just like he's just generally perturbed because he's having to do extra effort for something which he thinks is like just set in stone. Like, oh yeah, they're just probably dead. It doesn't make sense. Let's just go tell him. Like he's just, but he's not like 100% just. Money is pretty high on his priority, but it's not like the first thing he's thinking of at the moment.
Sure seems like it.
He just wants to get this over with. He doesn't like being out here.
So Elora is taking a look at the arrow, and I'm expecting Aegis probably is too. So.
Yeah, Aegis
What
will
are
be
you
inspecting the
guys
blood more than
trying
the
to
arrow.
discern? Okay. Aegis, go ahead and make a nature check.
I'm trying to
14.
profile up wands in there and taking care of the actual job.
This is some pretty old blood. It's dried on. It kind of got like that discoloration of it's been aerated for a while. As you like kind of scratch at it, it kind of flakes off. It seems to have been here for a number of days. Go ahead. Actually, no.
Roll investigation to find out and to see is there a trail that goes anywhere?
I'm able to see if I
just
can tell
making-
like what
Just
kind
make an
of...
investigation check here.
17.
Okay. It seems that this arrow has been damaged in a little bit. It seems that the shaft has splintered a bit. Not so much that it is completely in half, but there is definitely a bit of
It suffered an impact.
Yes, it suffered an impact or something like shuffling it. And also with that, you do see a small amount of blood like scraped on to certain trees and a couple bushes and whatnot going in a certain direction deeper into the forest.
the condition of the arrowhead?
It's pretty well crafted. It is a hunting arrow. It is for game. It's got like a kind of.
So this is clearly a hunting arrow and not a murdering arrow.
You've
Well,
seen.
I think to be a murdering arrow.
Well,
I'm asking-
there are arrows which are meant to induce more suffering than others. A hunting arrow would be easier to remove than an arrow.
The edges of this are not serrated. It's just a flat arrow, and it's just been seemingly ripped out.
Okay.
So does it look like it has...
And what did it hit? Did it hit something, say, really tough, or was it simply skin?
Right.
I have
perhaps armor or a tree.
I have something to check about the arrow.
Yeah.
Something very specific. How is the arrowhead aligned with the notch where you knock it at? Parallel, perpendicular, what?
What are you trying to gauge from this? So I don't misconstrue any information.
Okay, so when you're using an arrow for hunting, when you knock that arrow, if the arrowhead is vertical while it's knocked in the bow, that arrow is designed specifically to hunt animals. If that arrowhead is actually horizontal while it's knocked in the bow, just held upright, it's not designed for hunting animals, it's designed for hunting people.
It seems to be
Hence.
it seems to be specially made to hunt animals, and the arrowhead is affixed in a way that it reflects that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it's designed to go between ribs, and so.
Trustin, what were you saying again with what did it hit? Go ahead and make an investigation.
I'm looking
check.
for like if the tip is duller than.
Aegis would also be looking at such a thing while looking at the construction of the arrow.
Oh, not 20.
Ooh,
All right.
Ooh.
All right. So it is
What is it y'all are looking
still
for?
relatively sharp, but it seems to be worn as if it's been used multiple times. The upkeep of this is a little subpar, so it is duller on the edges than it is on the tip. It's seemed to be okay condition.
It's not chipped
But
in any way, no.
No, it's not chipped. It seems to have hit flesh, and seems to have just. Looking at the arrow shaft itself, you could also see that splatters of blood have maybe come up maybe 2 or 3 inches up to the shaft, and you'd gather that it probably only went a couple inches deep before it was somehow wrenched out. So that's what you gather from it.
Okay, so clearly this hit an animal and didn't hit a person. We can all
Aegis-
agree on that point, yeah?
Aegis also still sees the trail of blood that was left.
And it's of decent construction, which means it was probably made at the village and not by, say, goblins.
Mhm.
And Aegis points toward the direction where there are broken bushes and a small trail of blood. Whatever it hit went that way.
Or they drug it that way. I think we should follow that blood trail, though.
Aegis will stand up and start following the blood trail.
Okay. You follow it for maybe another 300, 400 feet before you get to a spot of grass where it's all been kind of flattened down as if something has fallen over in it.
Preston is just, while they're walking down the trail, Preston is behind Alfonso, just looking for body cues or something. Just trying to find, like, why are they upset? I'm not going to make a roll, I'm just stating. He's just looking.
Just saying Alphonse is kind of sus.
Okay.
Well,
Right?
one way or another.
Kinda?
Kinda.
I'd say extremely.
All right. Anyway, you get to this kind of little bit of clearing where the grass has been noticeably flattened out from either something falling down on it or whatnot. You also see a lot more blood and whatnot. You also see some scraps of a hasty butchering of an animal hide, very plainly trying to get a meal, and it seems to have come from some sort of deer or something that has just been kind of pushed off to the side and has been pretty well picked clean from the various wildlife and whatnot, but it's still very grisly with all the blood and gore and viscera that's just been kind of pooling around it after they were done.
How
It
old
seems,
is it? Should I
uh,
be able to tell how old it is?
go ahead and make a nature check.
Or eating it would make it
Or medicine
make
check,
it difficult.
actually. Medicine check. For
Medicine.
medicine.
Nope.
You can't.
I
It
will-
looks old-ish.
I would like to check the same.
Sure, make a medicine check.
Well, yeah, I don't know either.
It looks old-ish. It's
Wait,
definitely been eaten. It's definitely been
Aegis-
killed.
may I try?
Yeah. Aegis will point
Let's
toward
go.
the scraps which have been ripped off
Wow.
of it.
Apparently nobody is functional with medicine today.
Whatever did this, it probably wasn't our hunters, if I had to take a guess.
Say that.
Our hunters would have no reason to leave this kill here.
unless they were running from something.
Go ahead and Aegis, make an investigation check or perception check, either one.
Take investigation. I have +4 at that. Natural 20.
All right.
24.
You see that in this clearing, you kind of look around a bit, and you see that there is a much more animal kind of trail than the trail that you were following. The trail that you were following does still have the 2 human footprints going up, but they kind of curve to the side to keep out of the main clearing. It seems like they were trying to look at something, and were about to go for it until this strange animalistic beast came and got what they were getting already.
Pablo will point this out. Well, there's the reason why they never collected their kill. Something was eating it first. Something big, evidently. Pablo,
I would also say with that investigation check, you notice
about what size is the secondary trail? Maybe
The-
say a bear.
no, more smaller than a bear. It's
Are any footprints?
Also
Are there any prints in this
it's
area?
a quadrupedal beast, and next to it you could see a bipedal set of footprints also.
Oh,
I
it's
made
a hunter with his
I-
dog.
I made
And
the
it-
medicine.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was just. I made the medicine check as well on Discord since I can't really use Foundry right. And you can check it. I got a 15. I was using Avery, but it rolled Dice Maiden because I don't know.
Because they both use exclam. Because that
Alright.
has that
Okay,
hasn't
well,
been
Yeah, there's
Just like take
Avery.
it.
I would say with that roll, this kill seems to be maybe 3 days old at this point. It's very grisly. It's very a lot of meat is just kind of left on the bone-ish, but for the most part, it's been picked clean by various other scavengers and whatnot.
I would like to know exactly what the quadrupedal and the bipedal tracks are.
With the Nat 20, I would say the quadrupedal have a much more heavier footprint than the than what a normal dog would be, but not quite as heavy. It's more of like kind of a wolf-like, dog-like kind of paws and whatnot, and
Canine
the
paws.
canine-esque paws, and the bipedal ones kind of have kind of a humanoid footprint to them. But the toes are elongated and seem to end in these sharp kind of nails at each toe.
The bipedal set of tracks?
Bipedal and the quadrupedal, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't feel. This doesn't feel right to me.
Preston's looking quite tense. He's not
Clearly, their kill was stolen.
Um,
by another hunter, maybe.
and with that investigation check, I'd say
Where did
you
the
would
track
also
lead to after the kill?
they just kind of
Where
go.
did they leap toward?
They go in kind of the opposite direction of the tracks that you have been following. I would also say with that investigation check, you see a piece of green cloth hammered into a tree. It's been about 3 or 4 hours after the last campsite of just direct traveling.
After the tracks of the bipedal and the quadrupedal thing, Do the other tracks we were following stop, or they keep going?
They don't go into the what's it called, the clearing. They stay out just beyond the tree line, just kind of watching. You would assume as the whatever this thing came and started devouring their kill. As you're looking at this tracks, you see them kind of snake off and go in a very obvious opposite direction of whatever that thing was. Still,
This
kind
may
of
seem
heading
like an
forward.
unpopular opinion, but I think we should follow those tracks. And he's pointing towards the bipedal and the set of quadrupedal tracks.
That's not our quarry,
I-
though. We can let the villagers know that such a thing is out there, but that is not our job right now.
I have a feeling that maybe they were taken.
And the tracks just kind of
Pavu will point out that the brothers
Pavu?
Pavu.
Yes.
Aegis.
Pavu.
Sorry, Aegis will
Crossover,
point out
question mark.
the hunters, the brothers, and these two here. He will point toward the larger two creatures, which went into the clearing, went in different directions. These ones don't have anything to do with our quarry, at least not right now.
I say we take a look at the larger creatures after we finish what we came here for.
Splendid idea.
We say we don't at all. It's not what we came here to do. Why would we have any reason in the slightest
No one
to
honest
interfere?
here cares what you think.
I think agreeing with
And-
you.
This would make good information for the villagers. They should probably know about this if it's a threat. Given that the brothers stayed clear of it, it probably is a decent threat that the villagers should know about, but we're not going to do anything about it right now.
It's
Exactly. It's
not
not
our
our
have a
problem.
feeling.
Hence,
least
at
we
the
check
moment,
it out
maybe they were
after
taken
we
by
deal
that
with what we
threat.
came here for.
Feeling that they were taken with that. But
Clearly it didn't, because they
yield.
went in the opposite direction.
I'm thinking these tracks are different. Whatever. I'll go with the pay. What do you guys? Just go keep going with the normal tracks. Yeah.
Aegis will follow the brothers' tracks.
Okay.
I forgot
It's-
to mention my character's name. His name is O1, but you can also just call him Owen. But yeah, O1 will follow Aegis.
Okay.
Ah, yes. Stormtrooper rules. I'm sorry.
I'll follow Aegis too.
I'm going in the same direction as Aegis, because unlike this other guy, he doesn't seem like he just wants to avoid doing the job.
I'm just saying, it's obvious that they probably just died. I mean, they may have narrowly escaped it, but I don't imagine. I mean, worst case scenario, one ate the other. Which is an interesting situation, but I'm not a lazy person. I'm an efficient one.
There's a difference between laziness and efficiency. Efficiency implies you do the job correctly, but quickly and efficiently. Laziness implies, as you're trying, to simply avoid doing the job at all because you don't want to be bothered to actually make sure it's done right.
If
That's
you don't want to do the
laziness.
job right,
The
might I suggest
obvious
you head
conclusion
head
right here.
back to the village.
Look, I wouldn't want my lessers to die and then it be blamed on me.
Your
So,
lessers.
let,
Aegis will stop, straighten his shoulders, and turn around. You want to say that again?
I'm
Preston
sorry, is
will-
constituents a
will-
better word?
Preston will walk
You a politician?
to Aegis and just like put his hands on his chest and he's like, chill. We're working together.
Can Preston reach Aegis's chest?
How tall is Aegis?
Owen will do
Aegis
a,
is
like
6'6". He can reach up.
Owen will do the
He's
same.
on his tippy toes.
He just kind of like just
Hey, it's
grabs
like-
his junk. Like, wait.
It's like my Goliath paladin and the kobold in the party. The kobold will literally, my Goliath will literally hold someone up by the waist or the throat, and the kobold will just climb up and stand on her bicep to intimidate them. It's like the kobold
Preston falls
cannot
out of
reach
the
her chest.
stool. He just says, let's just chill. Continue following the trail. Alright?
Elora simply holds a hand out in front of Aegis and says, "He's not worth it. Let's move on."
As we're all
For a
walking
moment,
down
Aegis will turn around and continue on the trail. I will not be spoken to like that by someone who is 400 years younger than I am.
Oh, and your seniority is supposedly supposed to demand you some sort of respect.
At the very least, it gives you no cause to disrespect me.
Well,
Yes,
I've had no cause to. You see, you are a wise man, so I imagine you understand that respect is earned, not flagrantly given.
Disrespect is also earned and not flagrantly given.
Well, as I said
Agreed.
before,
I will
I'm
not be disrespected by someone in this tone. For
As
no
I said
reason.
before, I'm truthful. Just a little bit more than most. And
That is
I
not
said
being
it as
truthful.
it is.
That is being an asshat.
Uh,
Being an
For
asset
no
is
reason.
truthful.
I have a
then
request. Can Owen just
those
like?
two aren't mutually exclusive, to be
I
fair.
have a request. Can Owen kind of just like make like a whistling sound out of his like eye and mouth holes just to like make everyone just stop talking?
Sure. Have you guys
Just like a
been,
whistle.
just as a point of order, have you guys been staying still while doing this, or have you all been continuously walking while talking?
I'd assume
I
walking.
believe at this point we kind of stopped to deal
Yeah.
with the idiot
It's a little
over
bit.
here.
We
Alright,
had
we-
stopped for a moment, but Aegis had turned back around and started walking again.
All right, and are you still in the main like clearing?
No, we've left down the trail of the brothers.
Okay. Sure.
The argument dies down and we're continuing to walk. Preston's going to like walk a little bit fast to speed up to Alphonse and just start talking like, "There's something wrong." Chance.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? You're gonna have to speak up a little bit.
At that time,
Can't
you just
hear
got really
He's
quiet.
typing.
Yeah.
Strange. Is there something wrong, or is there something wrong with the situation? You're looking a bit uncomfortable. Saying
I
it
am-
so.
I am out here in these woods with all these very, how do you say, unpleasant, I guess would be the word in this language, people, and I'm just not
Hot
having.
meat kettle.
Yes, that old human saying. My father also had a word for people of your caliber, but as I want to do this mission efficiently, I won't say it here at this time. Alfonso's just gonna kind of lag back at this point. He's just like done with this.
You guys are
Preston
still.
slows down too. He kind of wants to keep this conversation going to like try to pry a little bit.
Elora simply turns around to Alphonse and says, "Well, you're welcome to go back to the village and we'll continue on without you. No one here would complain."
I still want to get paid myself, and
You can keep your down payment.
yes, but that down payment was merely enough to possibly get you a decent room at a trashing. For
This
reference,
ninja suggesting we
Alphonse has
ignore
like a
doing
very
the job.
bad. For reference for that thing he just said, he has a very bad concept of like money. Like he's just not good at gauging what's a lot and what's a little.
I definitely caught that one.
Yeah.
Because I think what would a room at the tavern that we were at the start of this cost? Maybe a silver,
Probably
silver
3
piece for the
silver.
night.
Yeah, probably silver, 2 silver.
Aegis, as he's walking, will reach up and start to take off his helmet. It takes a while, but he eventually gets it off and reveals the back of his warforged head before he places it back on. He's not human by any means.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally none of us are.
Yeah.
We're in a mostly human world where the humans hate elves. We're traveling with 2 elves, a goblin, and 2 robots.
And this is the first time that anything other than Aegis's armor has been revealed.
Oh, I don't think anything gets more human than 01 here. He's not even like trying to look like a person. He doesn't have like an actual face. He just has like a plate with holes.
And Aegis could definitely blend in as human so long as he keeps his armor on. A large human, for sure, but he could
realistically large. Anyway,
except for the glowing eyes.
Well,
yeah,
the glow is whenever he talks. And and whenever he gets loud is the only time whenever it starts to be visible behind the visor.
I just imagine him like one of those exos from Destiny, like when they talk how like they're
exactly yes.
That's how I
It's
just
like
imagine all Warforged as like just exo.
Owen just looks like the robots from Castle in the Sky.
Aegis is an exo in Enforcer armor from Risk of Rain.
Yeah, I just see what Preston's trying to do as like profiling on trying to figure out.
Someone was watching Criminal Minds.
Shall we continue?
Yes. Anyway, you guys are following these trails that seem to go off on kind of a split from where they were originally going, but still have somehow managed to loop back around and back to their original pathing, still going towards the bog that was pointed out. One person, I'd like you to go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Not up.
Good perception.
We already know who's gonna make the perception check.
Alright.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only have my 15 passive to rely on right now, apparently. Crap.
Moving on. You guys eventually get to this very large bog, and it seems the trees have kind of just encircled this. In the middle, there's this big old gnarled stump, and around it, you can hear lots of various birds and wildlife, and it's a very alive place, but it's hard to maneuver around at points. You'd have to stay on like the outside of it to really get anywhere good. You see the trail has kind of gone cold for the moment because of all of the mud that has just kind of just enclosed everything.
Look at that stump.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check. Sorry.
13.
Okay. You see that this stump is kind of on a more solid-esque piece of ground, so that it's not like being engulfed by the mud and whatnot. You see that the bark's a little bit worn. It seems like it's been a stump for quite a while. You also see something on top of it. You can't... Well, on top of it is a little bit strange. You see something on it, like a bit of splatter. You can't really tell if it is a bodily splatter or if it's like just a bit of mud. You'd have to get closer to look.
But
Yeah.
It'd be hard to get through this bog simply due to its muddy nature, or would it more be hard to get across without getting dirty?
Oh, my cat wants out.
It's you'd have to physically try and because whenever you take a step into the mud, your foot goes about maybe a foot under until it finally hits the ground. You'd have to take like a moment to take your foot out, place down. Same thing with the other foot to just kind of move at a much slower pace than normal.
can I
Aegis
skirt around
entirely
the edge of the
unfazed
bog?
by mud in trying to attempting to take off his armor, which it cannot. He will hold out his he will stoop down and hold out his arm for Elora to grant her a ride across the mud, because she's clearly the most perceptive of the group.
Oh, we're
Preston's
gonna cross
trying
that?
to skirt around the bog, trying to bypass it entirely to get to the stump.
Is the stump in the middle of the bog? Like, is it
Yeah,
surrounded by mud on all sides?
It's pretty much surrounded by mud on all sides. It has like a 15-foot radius of semi-solid ground. And then like maybe 30 or 40 feet away, it's like it has 30 or 40 feet of mud, and then finally the clearing. And it's just
So is it like
surrounded by
dead center, or is there a
pretty
part of
dead center.
Oh wait, it's only 15 feet across.
Man.
The 15 feet is the dry area, spreading out from the stump. There's about a 30-foot gap of just mud till you get to that 15-foot of dry area.
So not far enough for me to try to jump over, yeah.
No, you have to trudge through the mud to get to that dry place to
Hold
investigate.
on, my cat wants to be fed.
It's a noble cause.
Yeah. I was
Tell her to
literally
learn to
just
hunt.
about to say.
Aegis is clearly offering a ride, but it's
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it. I was about to say that. Yeah, I'll hop on.
So Aegis will allow Preston to climb up to sit on his shoulder, and
Okay.
Aegis will start to walk through the mud.
All right. As I said before,
Preston says, "I
it's-
ride noble steed." Sorry.
And while they're doing this, Elora is going to spend some time checking around the area to see if she can find if the trail picks up somewhere.
okay. We'll get to that in just a moment. All right.
Mhm.
You were
As
smart
you're-
enough to climb on this time, huh?
Because
You're like
I couldn't jump across it.
takes a little bit, but eventually you get to like the dry portion of the land, and you kind of like wipe your feet to make sure you get good traction, and you continue on towards the stump. If one of you would like to make an investigation check on the stump,
Intimidation.
My investigation
Okay.
is no
I'll
good.
totally investigate it from 20 feet away.
Oh boy.
all right, Preston, you're still kind of just looking around, making sure to not get dirty, and you're still just kind of preoccupied with a couple other things. Aegis, you see that this is in fact blood on this stump, and looking around a bit more, on the other side of the tree stump is a light crossbow with a couple bolts scattered about.
Does it look like this?
Derek was the one that had the crossbow, correct?
Yes, Derek had the light crossbow.
Aegis would grab the crossbow and raise it up. Well, we know Derek was here.
All right,
And I have a feeling that something died on the stump here.
Alora, you were Or you were
rabbit or
trying
something.
to gauge where the tracks would pick up again?
Yes, I'm trying to search around the little bog and see if I can find a spot where the tracks pick back up and see if we can figure out which direction they might have gone.
Okay, make an investigation check for me to see if you can try and gauge where the
16.
Okay. You looking around, you kind of come up to the opposite side of where you guys came from, and like circling all the way around the bog.
Mm-hmm.
You find that there seems to be a very obvious groove in the mud where something large and heavy has been, well, large-ish, has been dragged, and there are two of these trails.
It seems something may have happened and they may have been dragged away.
Aegis, you
point
were
out the
holding up
grooves.
you were holding up the crossbow, correct?
Yes, but he's not holding it by the trigger or anything. He's holding it up to display it to the party.
Okay. As you do that, an arrow comes streaking at you. That would be a natural 20.
Oh boy.
Oh Lord.
Oh,
Great work. Great. Lovely.
Give me a second.
It goes through
Yeah,
Aegis and then gets
just so I'm clear,
no.
Aegis is holding it up where the arrow would be knocked in. He's not.
Okay.
He's not holding it by the grip or anything. He's holding it up by the middle,
Okay, so
which I don't know what that part of a crossbow is called.
As you're holding up by the body of the crossbow and just kind of showing it off around everyone, an arrow suddenly sprouts from your armpit, and a wave of just pain hits you. You take 13 points of damage as this arrow suddenly streaks from the foliage, the foliage, the
foliage.
streaks. Yes,
Surprisingly
and-
enough, that part of the crossbow would actually be called the barrel.
the more you
Just
know.
like a gun,
Oh, the
apparently.
Hey,
Weird.
the more you know.
Right. I was like, I want to look it up. I'm curious.
And now
Or
we're
it could be
viewers
called the
now.
flight groove.
When he gets hit, he would shout, "Son of a bitch!"
And
He would place his shield down in front of him, ready his shotgun from the direction the arrow came from.
you
Preston's
see,
gonna roll away from where the kind of roll like behind Aegis and just pull out his revolver. Just get it out
looking
ready.
from where the arrow came from, you see kind of low in the brush this kind of gnarled looking humanoid with large claws and kind of a hyena looking face and like little ears.
No.
We're
He's
aware
gonna
of them.
point at it and say, "I freaking called it."
You
Told you.
would
Told you
recognize
we should have
this.
called it earlier.
Recognize
how
this
far-
as a gnoll, and there are two of them flanked by these large wolf-esque kind of creatures that don't look like wolves and come up about to midway to the gnolls. And they're not small by any means. They're about the size of a normal person, like 6 foot. So the gnolls come up about halfway. They're large beasts, and they're just kind of snarling now that the first arrow has been loosed, and they all leap into action. I would like everyone to roll initiative.
Ooh.
Boy.
Man, I sure.
All right. So at the top of the round would be, unfunny. I forget what your character's name was. I'm sorry. It was
My name is
Alphonse.
attached.
Alfonso. Yeah, Alphonse.
Here,
Alright, so
real
that
quick,
would be-
Joker.
Mhm.
Here, I can go ahead and do it while I'm waiting for my turn. Go ahead.
All right. So Alphonse, what would your character like to do? These gnolls have just appeared out of the brush, seemingly attacking Aegis with a really well placed shot. And you're up.
How far away are they from me?
Let's quickly measure that. So, the closest one is 20 feet away. The closest knoll is 20 feet away. The other ones are within 30 feet.
Who's around me right now? The goblin and... Okay, yeah.
No, the goblins aren't... No, Preston and Aegis aren't near you. You're currently on the outskirts of the...
You're with me. Huh?
Of the...
Well, in an Aegis
You're
or
with 01.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm with O1. What's your class again? You're a
Barbarian.
druid?
Barbarian. Druid is the
Why did I say
main
druid?
campaign.
So you're a barbarian, so I have no problems. I want to move up 5 feet and then use lightning lure. So
Okay.
they'll have to make a strength saving throw.
Alright, which one are you... Is it, like, just an area of effect, or is it a single person?
It's a single creature.
Alright, are you going to be doing it on the Null or the Warg?
The null.
Okay, so you'd like to move 5 feet, right? Okay. Are you moving 5 feet towards them or away from them?
Towards.
Okay.
Because I'm 20 feet away, so I'd have to...
I went ahead and moved yours up closer. And lightning lure, what do I need to roll for that?
That is a saving throw. You're gonna need a 13.
What kind of saving throw? Strength?
Strength? Yeah, strength.
No, that is a 5. So what happens to the Null?
It takes 1d8 lightning damage. Infinite damage, yes. So it takes 1d8 lightning damage, and it's pulled 15 feet closer to me.
Okay, so 5, 10. So it's right up next to you now, after getting pulled by this yellow, this bluish hue of lightning, and just shocks them, and is suddenly whisked right next to you. You
They're
currently
gonna take
have
6
a
damage.
Okay. He doesn't really. He takes it. He looks a little like, and just kind of bares his teeth at you, kind of more angry than hurt. All right, is that your turn? Do you want to do anything else?
That's my turn.
Alrighty. Next in the initiative order is Preston. Preston, what are you gonna do?
I think I'm going to. I want to move like around Aegis to sort of see the situation, like where everything is. I think I'm gonna upcast Magic Missile to level 2.
Okay. Who are you going at it? Who are you aiming at?
I'm going to aim at all 4 of the bees.
Ah, there he is.
Okay, so you're gonna hit each one of them with a D4.
Yes.
All right, go ahead and roll those, and we'll get those assigned.
That'll be one roll. Per monster, one roll, and then that's all.
Generally, Magic Missile is rolled 1, and then that's applied to each missile. You just roll the once.
Or you can do 4d4 since he's upcasting it. But he's going to hit every single one. So in this case, yeah, just roll 1d4 and we'll disperse it. Alright,
Oof.
so that is
2
1
damage.
2 damage?
It's 2. Magic Missile is 1d4 plus 1 each missile.
Oh, okay. From your gun, you kind of fan the hammer, and with each fan of the hammer, this spectral kind of purplish beam of light streaks forward and goes, and immediately hits each one of them in a satisfying boom. And they each kind of, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, they just kind of stumble off balance a bit, and they just kind of just settle back and just get ready for another round of fighting. It didn't do a whole lot of damage, but it did some damage.
Preston's gonna look at his gun like, come on.
Alright.
Actually,
With that, it is going to be the Knoll's turn. So, that first Knoll that has been... that has been pulled right up next to you, Alfonso, is going to take its spear and is going to try and jab it into your side. That is going to be a 17 to hit on you, Alfonso.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Alphonse, sorry.
that hits. That hits.
Alright. That'll be 6 points of damage as it jabs its spear right into your abdomen. Luckily, you're able to push away a little bit so it doesn't hit anything vital, but it does sink a couple inches, and it pulls out with a snarl and is just kind of licking its lips, looking at you hungrily. It's going to maneuver around this way to try and get a bit of cover, and that's turn. So this one
does it?
is going...
I'm sorry. Does it provoke opportunity an opportunity
Nope,
attack?
it's still in your combat range. It's just maneuvering around.
Okay.
Yeah. So this gnoll is going to run up and just kind of sit on the, kind of getting into the mud and just slowing down a bit. Is going to take out its long bow and fire at this little goblinoid creature. And, that'll be a 21 to hit.
Ooh.
So that is fucking hell. That's 3 points of damage as it just kind of skims off of your shoulder. Its foot kind of sunk a little bit as it was firing and making it go a little wide, but still managing to nick you. You take 3 points of damage as the arrow kind of grazes past your shoulder. That's their turn. Alora, that brings it to you.
Didn't somebody get a 15 go before me?
Yeah, that's Preston. Preston
Right.
already went.
Yeah.
Also, a reminder that my initiative is
Oh!
supposed to be 11
Preston
and not
Knowles
9.
got the same thing.
Okay.
Alright, so Laura will move to there.
How much
Enter
movement is that?
30. That's
Okay.
the limit of my movement. She'll enter her sword dance and take a swing at the thing.
Okay.
Oh, good grief. Inventory. Roll attack. 19 to hit.
That'll hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Plus mod plus bonus. Let's see if it rolls the correct mod. Ah, it does. Good. 9 damage.
All right. You run up to this guy, and he, after firing an arrow successfully at Aegis and now not so successfully at Preston, and you just take your sword and slice him right down the midsection, making a big, large wound. He takes it and is just like, and just snarls at you. His focus entirely on you now, and that was a decent hit, and he's looking hurt. He's hurting a bit. All right. So, Owen, it is now your turn.
Alright, let me check if I'm able to run over there. Alright, I'd like to move over to this gnoll, rage, and then just cleave at him with my great axe.
All right, go ahead.
Alright, hold on, let me move myself. And can I describe can I give some flavor to my rage?
Go ahead, because we discussed this, yeah.
one just starts barreling towards this gnoll at full speed, which probably isn't very fast, but he makes a quick halt in front of him, brings out his great axe, lifts it up into the air, and then about 6 ghosts just kind of shoot out of his face holes and just start swirling around this gnoll. I'd like to make
Ghost?
my swing.
Go ahead. We'll do attack.
Alright. Bop. Did it do it? I'd like to attack. I forgot. Do I get... Phoenix, you've played Barbarian before. When you rage, you get, like, something special whenever you make an attack, right?
You
Plus
get
2 to
a
damage.
+2 at our level. Oh!
And you have
I
advantage
actually
on...
dealt...
You also...
So I actually dealt 10 damage to the Knoll, not 9. Forgot the +1 from Sword Dance.
Oh yeah, also, you have advantage
Doesn't
on
factor that in.
strength checks and strength saving throws. Does me swinging my axe count as a strength check?
No,
No.
it's not.
No?
No,
Okay.
it-
No, it's
normal.
just a melee attack.
Yeah.
Uh,
no.
that
So
is-
that's just a
Recklessly,
normal
then you
attack.
would make at advantage.
Yep. But all attacks would have advantage against
Oh,
you
for
also.
fuck's sake.
So that
is
was a 6 to hit?
6, that is a 6 to hit. You've gotta be fucking kidding me.
Unfortunately,
Oh, man.
I'll just swing
unfortunately,
above his head.
barreling at this knoll, he has enough time to look at you and see, and quickly dodge out of the way as your large axe comes swinging down just inches above his head, and kind of looks at you and snarls. Currently being encircled by these these ghosts, is kind of looking a little afraid, but still focused on your character now. Okay, now that would be the warg's turn. Alright. This warg is going to go up next to his friend, and seeing you just go into ghost mode, is going to try and take a bite at you.
Oh.
That will be a 21 to hit.
That hits. What kind of damage is it, though?
It would be piercing damage, so it would be half for you. So,
Yeah, take resistance.
yeah.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Also, please
My
make a
14.
strength saving throw.
Strength
for
saving
me.
throw. Oh, hell yeah, I get advantage on that.
On that.
Hell yeah. Strength save. Advantage. I roll a total of 21.
Alright, you take 12 points of piercing damage, reduced to 6, as these large, massive jaws just clamp down onto your arm. They try and wrestle you to the ground, but you're holding firm with your iron fortitude, and just kind of staring at this, still locked onto this knoll, and just keeping it there. This warg is going to go to the closest thing, and is going to attack you, Alora.
Yeah, of course it is.
You're right next to it. That'll be a 20 to hit.
That's gonna hit.
Okay. Please make a strength saving throw for me.
Oh, that's gonna suck. Yeah, I don't make it.
Okay. You take 10 points of piercing damage as it clamps down onto you and wrestles you to the ground. You are now considered prone.
Can
And
I use my reaction to reduce it, though?
Yep.
You're quite
Using
far.
your ability, you can
Yeah. Give me a second to
reduce some of that.
pull it up and look at it exactly how it is. I think it's like,
If I remember, it was a
for me, I
D4
think it's like,
plus
it's
your...
a D6, you said. And we'll go to
I
D8
said-
later.
I said D4 to D6. It wasn't a D6 right off the bat. It was a D4.
Oh, it goes up to a D6.
Yes.
Oh, well, let's see.
It was D4 plus your level plus your dex.
Plus
mod.
level plus dex? Yeah.
Dex
Awesome.
mod.
So that's plus 8. Woo! A 10!
Okay. Yeah, you were going to take 10 points of damage, but you kind of push your way out of its jaws out. Not all the way out, but you still get slammed to the ground with its paws. You're still considered prone, but you did not take any damage from that. And that'll be it for the wargs. That'll come to Aegis. Is now your turn.
Aegis is not happy with how much damage he took. So, he will. He's not going to cast Cure Wounds right now, but he will.
He's able to do that?
Yep, that's an
I have-
artifact. So,
Interesting.
And he will instead pull the trigger on his shotgun, and what sounds like a shell, but instead a blast of fire comes out of the tip of the barrel as a firebolt rockets toward the southern warg.
okay, so this one.
This
This
one
one?
here. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and roll hit.
idea.
Unfortunately, that just misses. So as you ready your aim and fire, that bolt is still kind of in your armpit and still making it a little hard to aim. Unfortunately, it just kind of glances off the back of its hide and just kind of keeps snarling as it's currently pinning down Laura with no effect. Is that going to be your turn?
Yeah, that'll be the end of my turn.
Okay, going to the top of the turn order, Alphonse, what are you doing? You're currently in combat with the warg and the gnoll. Wait, no, that's Owen, sorry. You're just in combat with the gnoll.
So I'd like to take my javelin and just kind of slash the gnoll and do my hex blade curse on it.
Okay. So you would use your bonus action to do that, and then you would attack, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right,
The hex
go
blade
ahead.
act versus bonus action.
All right. So as the gnoll is sitting there, kind of surrounded by these ghosts, these dark tendrils start creeping up from the mud and start wrapping themselves around its legs and its arms, making movement a little bit more difficult than it already was. And its eyes are now in full freak out mode because it's got these ghosts swirling around this, these dark tendrils currently wrapping around him. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
+4 for me.
Mhm.
Also, this is considered magical. Because whoa, nat 20.
Whoa.
All right, yeah, that'll hit.
Nice.
Go ahead and roll critical damage on that.
So that's
And don't forget your
okay.
Hexblades curse stuff.
2d6 plus 6.
Plus 6? The modifier doesn't get doubled. It's
So
just the
one.
Hmm?
I know. +1 from improved pact weapon, and then +2 from hexblade curse.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And then I have a
did-
basic, like 17.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
So that's a total of 15 damage.
All right. As you go up, you just cleave this. You chop its arm off, and with the momentum, you are able to continue into its leg. Its arm kind of slops into the mud, and with its ruined leg, it kind of tries to stand up for a second, and just falls into the mud, kind of convulsing. It is dead.
I gained 6 HP from that, so I think I just heal the wound. Because
Is it 6
only
HP
did
or
6
It's
damage.
temporary, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it
Is it
temporary or?
temporary?
Oh no, you actually regain hit points.
All right, yeah. So you gain
Oh,
6
that's
HP from that.
Nice.
As the dark tendrils that wrapped around it start to slowly bring it down into the mud a little bit more, you feel a bit more. You feel the last draining bit of its life essence seep into yours as you take a deep breath and feel your wounds start to close. If that's everything, Preston, it is now your turn.
I think I'm gonna cast sleep.
All right, who are you casting it on?
That's not how sleep works.
I know, but
Sleep
you have
area.
to center it on it. You have to center it on a thing, and then you're trying to get that main one down, and then anything else, it's... I know how sleep works, so who are you centering it on?
You don't
Do I
have to worry
put
about
it
it
on
hitting
a
me because it
person,
won't
or
affect
do I
me.
just center it somewhere? It's 20 foot on a point.
For sleep, you choose the creatures. It's not just anything. Is it anything in the radius? I thought it was just you choose the creatures, and then it divides what you roll.
Let's find out.
Since creatures in normal magical level 5d8 controls how many hit points of creatures a spell can affect. Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose within a range are affected. And the range is something. So, I just
Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose within range are affected in ascending order of their current hit points, ignoring unconscious creatures.
Yes.
So that's all of them within 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say that you can actually...
You can try and put it so that it would just reach some of these and exclude one of your friends, like that.
Right.
So is that what you're trying to do?
You don't have to worry about it hitting me anyway. I'm immune to
Yeah,
magical
wouldn't-
sleep.
So it's
Oh.
Owen.
Attack. That's weird.
Alright.
And Aegis is as well.
Huh?
Alright, so go ahead and roll
Alphonse?
5d8.
An elf too?
Wait, huh?
Mod plus 0. What?
I don't think he has
Surprise.
sleep
Oh,
immunity.
Is he an elf?
Right.
I am Warforged.
Yes,
I said Alphonse,
Owen
not
is an,
Owen.
yeah, Owen is a Warforged and has sleep immunity.
So go ahead and roll 5d8 for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. 23.
Damn.
30.
Okay.
What?
Not you,
no,
Owen.
Oh, sorry.
Alright. As this spell starts filling this area, it has like a milky white kind of fog to it. As it reaches the knoll, it kind of just stumbles for a bit and falls face first into the mud, asleep.
Which one?
The other,
Oh, the knoll.
yeah, the only knoll that's left. The other wargs do not seem to be affected. They kind of blink and shake their heads to kind of refocus. But yes, that is a successful sleep spell. Nice job. He is that knoll kind of just falls over and is currently knocked out. Would have been the knoll's turn, but he's unconscious. Alora, what would you like to do?
Well, since this guy's asleep, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to swing at the warg with my sword.
Go ahead and roll to attack.
And miss horribly, because screw you, Foundry.
As you're trying to get your footing, you try and get... You have your very large sword, and you're trying to swing at it, but that sleep spell was a little... The after effects still doesn't put you to sleep, it still made you a little bit hazy. So you swing a little bit wide as you're trying to get a good beat on this warg, and it's just snarling at you. So...
I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Spiritual Weapon and attack it again. A 22.
Alright, that will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, roll damage. It takes 7 force damage.
Alright. As this... What form does your spiritual weapon take?
A silver bastard sword.
As this long silver sword suddenly appears made out of glowing energy, it cuts down, not actually leaving a cut, passing right through it, but where it touches, the skin begins to bubble and boil as if it had been burned. It kind of gives out a little yelp of pain, just kind of snarls yet again. That was a good hit.
Yeah, it's too bad I didn't get my hit with my sword, too.
Alright. Is that going to end your turn?
Yes, that's all I can do on my turn, so.
Alright. 01 is now your turn.
I will make another swing with my great axe targeted at the warg.
Alright.
I will...
As the ghosts that have coalesced around you go out and start circling this other warg and just kind of distracting it as you go to make your attack.
I will make my attack normal. That is a 14 to hit.
That hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Let's go. This is a normal hit. That is 10 damage.
All right, nice. As you bring your great axe right into the shoulder of this large beast, it kind of loses its limb for a little bit as it kind of wills it to come back and function again. It was a solid hit, but it's still standing. It's still in this fight.
And now the ghosts are this thing's problem, so...
Yep, the ghosts are now swirling around this thing
that
as...
That means it now has disadvantage on any attack roll that is not against me, and if it decides to attack my teammate, it has... my teammate will have a resistance. Yeah.
Alright.
So everybody will have resistance, I mean, besides me, because I'm already raging.
Nice.
Now it is the warg's turn, yet again. It is going to, seeing as how you just attacked it, it's going to try and bite you.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be a 19 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay.
And I still have the resistance.
So 14 reduced to 7, so you take 7 points of damage.
Alright.
And make a strength saving throw for me, please.
Let's go advantage time.
Yep.
Advantage 23.
Alright. Yeah, it bites at you again and tries to wrestle you down again. And you're just having none of it. You're just staying still with your great axe and just looking dead on as the ghosts are just swirling around it. That'll come to this warg, who is going to take a bite at Laura.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a 17 to hit.
Does not hit. Woo!
As it snaps at you, you kind of dodge out of the way very elegantly. You kind of just tap it on its nose as it tries to grasp at you. Just as a playful little thing. Would be cute if it wasn't so large and...
If it weren't trying to kill me.
It would be so cute if it were cute.
Right.
Alright.
Can I
Going...
take a free action and yell
It's now your
something to
turn.
Owen?
Sorry?
Can I take a free action and say something to Owen?
Sure, go ahead.
What's with that soul eater stuff going on there?
Oh, there's been me crew.
Alright, and that's as much as you get out. Aegis, it is now your
Family.
turn. Aegis, it is now your turn.
Aegis will say, "We've got more important things to worry about right now." As
But I'm just curious.
as he fires at the warg with his shotgun.
Which one?
Which one has been hit more?
The warg right next to Owen is limping a little bit more than the one that's next to Aegis. The one next to Aegis looks mad at it being taunted by
You mean next to Elora?
by Laura. Sorry, yes.
It's like there isn't one next to Aegis.
The one next to Laura just looks mad at being taunted. But the one next to Owen is looking decently rough.
Damn it!
All right.
No,
It's unfortunate.
As you ready your shot yet again,
of course, all of my non-combat rolls have been great, but no, as soon as we get into combat,
wait, what did you roll on that? Just
that was a 5.
okay. Never mind. Just know if you roll a 2 or a 1, you misfire. Just keep that in mind going forward. As you ready your shotgun, you kind of take a moment to breathe.
He doesn't
Then
have time
Preston
to breathe.
starts-
Also,
Preston
Warforged
starts
doesn't
talking.
breathe.
Or
He's a Warforged. He doesn't breathe.
Talking and distracts you. That's funny.
You start to laser focus down. You see you take.
breathing sound.
You know exactly where the warg is going to go before he moves. Then Preston starts talking, and that kind of breaks your concentration, and you just kind of glare at him as your shot goes wide and just kind of peppers the bark with a bunch of buckshot. Anyway, is that going to be your turn?
Yeah, that'll end my turn.
Okay, going back to Alphonse, it is now your turn. Yeah. All right, Preston, what would you like to do?
What's the range of the normal revolver bullets?
Whoa.
The range would probably be something like, since it's a gun, like 100, 150, 100, 90 feet
I mean,
normally.
that's a pistol, so pretty sure you're within range of everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're fine.
it's a large caliber pistol, so it would be a lower range than a smaller one, probably,
Right.
but more damage.
Whatever is
But more than enough for this.
The one right next to 01 is limping a little bit, but not super badly. The one next to Alora is looking a little rough, but just looking angry. And then there's a sleeping Knoll. So are you shooting at the one that looks more rough, or the one that looks a little bit more sturdy?
I'm gonna blast the one that's next to Laura.
Laura?
That's
Okay.
right.
All right.
Yeah, the one next to Laura.
Roll to attack. All right, go ahead and roll to attack.
So that would be
Proficiency bonus plus Dex mod plus a D20.
Go ahead and roll.
so
2 plus whatever your Dex is plus a D20.
It will be the Knoll's turn, but they're asleep. Alora, it is now your turn.
Alright.
I'm sorry, was I
will-
skipped?
Yeah.
Your action has
Oh.
been held, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, would you like
Oh.
to go ahead and use it now?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can take it right now before I do mine. Go for it.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
go
I'm
for it.
sorry, I don't. I
It's fine.
blipped out for a sec. I'd like to go up. How far is the warg next to Allura again?
It's like, let me check.
Do you think I have this one under
30 feet
control?
away, but you have a ward right next to you also.
Yeah, I
if
don't
you
want to
want.
get the one next to you because if it does attack you, you get you don't take as much damage.
I'm
Oh,
gonna.
Just
Oh,
deal with
sure.
the one you're next to at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna attack that one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use Wrathful Smite,
Whoa. Whoa.
and it has to make
You
a
get a smite?
wisdom. Yeah, I have smites.
Yeah.
Um,
The warlock gets a couple of smite spells. They don't get the divine smite
for
feature,
Hexblade.
Go ahead and roll to
Um,
attack.
No, I'm gonna use Wrathful Smite, and it needs to make that. If I hit, I think. D. Shit.
So an 11 to hit?
An 11, I imagine, does not hit. Yeah, that's 11 to hit.
Well, you can choose to do your smite after you see if it attacks. After you hit.
Oh, I
you
can? Okay.
though.
I thought I
Yes.
had to call that before.
No, I think
It's
the way
It's
the way
divine smite that you
spells
can
work.
call after.
Yeah, the way smite spells work is they are usually cast as a bonus action, and you hold concentration on them until you actually hit, and then they go off.
I thought
Okay.
Paladins could choose. I know
Only
she's
with
not a
Paladin
paladin.
can, Hexblades
Yeah,
can't.
I'm not.
They don't
Oh.
get an
I'm
actual
not a
divine
paladin.
smite feature.
I did
Only
not
the
know.
divine smite feature works like that.
All right, that is
My
good
power
to
is
know.
granted to me by
All right.
other
As you
people, but
raise
not God.
as you
The Raven
raise
Queen
the
or something of
sword,
the sort.
the black energy starts to coalesce around it, and you swing, and unfortunately, it just kind of glances off the hide of this large beast, kind of just glancing off of the pure muscle of this. It doesn't even look at you. It just keeps focused on 01. Is that going to be your turn?
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Does a 12 hit? It's a plus
It does
5,
not.
not a plus 4. Okay, yeah.
It does not.
Okay, then it doesn't matter.
All right. So, sorry, Alora is now.
All right, I'm a swing at this warg. 18.
That will hit.
Yay! I deal 11 damage with my sword.
Mhm.
And then with my spiritual weapon, and that will not hit.
All right. You take your long silvered sword and you carve a large section of meat off of this thing. It's just kind of just off the shoulder. It just onto the ground, into the mud, and it's looking real hurt. And you think to finish it off with a large stabbing attack with your spiritual weapon, but unfortunately, when it like shudders and goes to its knees for a second, it gives it just that enough height difference to go above it, missing completely. It's looking real hurt.
And I just dance around it to here and move my spiritual weapon over to here. So, for whatever reason, it won't let me actually do that. So,
sure. That ends your turn. 01. What would you like to do?
Because you need to move it as a measurement item.
I'll swing at this fellow once more.
All right.
Hopefully.
As the ghosts are still encompassing it, and just
select on measurement.
Go ahead and make your attack.
Like the measurement controls.
I will make my normal. That is a
So
22
you see the little
hit.
shatter icon right here.
That will definitely hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Time. Normal.
And whatever,
That
I'm not
is
worried about
9
it.
damage.
Not like they can target the spiritual weapon anyway.
Alright.
And it doesn't get flanking bonuses, so.
You take your large axe and you sink it right into the neck of this beast. It lets out a really
Don't forget the extra 2 damage from your rage.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, and I forgot the extra 1 damage from my sword dance.
I also forgot the extra 2 damage.
It's still up,
from
unfortunately.
I
So
forgot the extra 2 damage from
one
my
actually
rage last
close.
time, so that's 4 damage extra that I forgot.
Yeah.
Huh.
Unfortunately, the Foundry doesn't like to apply these things like it should, so it's kind of annoying.
Sink
Because we're declaring them, we're not actually putting them into chat. And
Well,
you're not
with
putting
sword dance,
and you're not
I
putting
can't
these
actually do
damages
that.
as situational bonuses into the rolls. This is all your fault, not Foundry's.
Whoa.
Can I speak?
You may.
Alright. So you go ahead and take this large axe and sink it right in the neck of this large wolf-like creature. It goes like 3 or 4 inches in, and blood just starts spurting out from the side. As you take it free from the neck, it goes to its like hind knees and just kind of whimpers. It's looking terrible. It's looking like anything would kill it. It's looking around and trying to gauge whether or not this is something it should do. So yeah, is that going to be everything for you?
Yeah, but I did forget the extra 2 damage from my rage this time and last time.
Yep,
so that
I
was
added.
extra 4.
So
Okay,
the
cool.
plus 4 damage on top of the 9, so that'd be 13, right?
Yes. You added
Okay.
that already?
Yep, I
Okay,
added that.
cool.
And
It's
my
the
warg only
field
took an
buff.
extra 1. Because, yeah.
Yep, I got
Last
that.
round I didn't hit it with my sword, so.
That should be about it then.
Yeah. All right. Now it is the warg's turn. This warg is going to try and get one last bite off at you. So that'll be an 11 to hit.
That misses. Let's go.
All right. As this really weakened, whimpering beast just gives a half-hearted attempt, you just knock it aside with your axe. Just kind of stare dead at it. And it is going to attempt to run. Go ahead and make your attack of opportunity as it's trying to flee.
Oh shit!
Hit.
Is this just a
Hit
normal attack?
Yes.
I can
Yep,
make?
it's the normal attack.
All right.
Hit it.
Attack.
Hit it.
Normal. 23.
Yeah!
Go ahead and roll damage.
Normal. And that is
Do I also
14
get an
now.
attack of opportunity?
Well, you would have. We didn't move your token, but yeah, let's do his
14.
damage first.
That is.
Okay, I was just
That
asking.
is 12 total.
That was gonna say.
As you take your axe, it starts to run away. You chop off one of its hind legs and it just tumbles forward a couple feet and doesn't move. Its life has been ended. now for the final warg. Seeing all of this, it is going to attempt to make one last bite at Alora.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a 7 to hit.
Yeah, not quite.
And it is going to attempt to run away.
It is going to get swung at. Come on, swing, hit. 15.
That'll hit. Go ahead, roll damage.
11.
How do you want to do this?
Whoa.
I just want to carve into it. Just nice, elegant swipe where it just carves across the whole thing and just splits the whole side of it, dumping everything inside of it out.
Okay.
As I just kind of slide right out of the way of all the gushing blood and stuff.
Okay.
Gotta keep
as it attempts to make this final half-hearted bite at you, it tries to bite and then go into a run. You knock the bite away, and as it's running, you use its momentum to just kind of put your sword into its side and let it run. Using that, you just kind of carve a long, winding line. It gets about 3 or 4 more feet of running as before its stomach just splits open and exposing the ribs and the different organs and whatnot, and then intestines just start spilling out. Just kind of starts slowing down, and much like a deer, just kind of accepting the fate and lies down with this large pool of blood starting to seep into the mud. All right.
Okay, there's one more thing. We do still have one gnoll that's asleep.
Yeah. Can y'all just let me just execute him, just behead him?
Wait. I have a question. Aegis would know this. I do not.
Mm-hmm.
Are gnolls
sentient?
Are gnolls able to speak?
Oh,
They
yeah.
are
understand.
able.
Okay.
They are able to speak, but they have very rare.
They speak
occasions.
common.
Most of them do not. Very few of them actually do.
Well, this is worth a shot. Aegis is going to.
Well, before we do that, we're going to pick up on this next week,
Oh,
since
yeah.
a couple of us
fair
have
enough.
gone, and it is getting pretty late.